This session is literally about how to leverage ChatGPT to write a cover letter. So it's kind of like a series this month, right? So the last session we did was about leveraging ChatGPT to write a CV, and this time we're gonna use it to write a cover letter from scratch. And yeah, it's just basically going to be a show and tell session. What I'll do is per each section that I go through, I'm gonna kind of like go through it, my thought process behind it, stop, field any questions, and then we'll move on to the next section. That's how we pretty much did it last time as well. And yeah, like if you have any questions, like feel free to drop it in the chat, and I'll like be looking as I'm speaking. And then you can also like turn on your camera and ask the question if you want. And yeah, a recording of this session is going to be made available later this week as well with the guide that I'm going to run through. And yeah, it really helps if you guys share on your socials that you found the session useful, and then also use the feedback form to provide feedback on how we can make the sessions better for you guys as well. And what else? Yeah, that's pretty much it, to be honest. So yeah, we're just gonna get into it. I'm just gonna share my screen. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can see my screen. Okay, perfect. All right. So, as much as we all hate cover letters, I'm sure we all do. It's like just really important, right? And the reason why a cover letter is important is because you need to think about it like this. Everybody hates cover letters. So if you're that one person that doesn't hate it, then that you're more likely to kind of increase your chances of basically getting the job, because 9 times out of 10 everybody is going to be sending a banging CV, like it's just a given, right? But nobody really wants to send cover letters. And think about it like this: if you have a really, really good CV, 9 times out of 10, you're like, nah, my CV should bust case. So why do I need to send a cover letter? That's where you need to be standing out, basically. Also, cover letters are really useful if, say, for example, you want to pivot into another industry, because really and truly, you may not have the relevant experience on your CV, and you really want to give them a reason as to why they should basically hire you. And that's where the cover letter really comes into play. So what we're going to basically be doing is running through like the structure of how to write a cover letter. I think the reason why a lot of people get put off writing cover letters as well is because they think it has to be tailored. But I literally only tailor one part of my cover letter, and the rest just pretty much follows the same structure. So that's pretty much what it's about. And yeah, like we're just gonna run through it. So the first part of the cover letter, you can either have dear hiring manager, dear name, or to whom this may concern. Like any of that kind of works really. But the cover letter structure can be broken down into 4 paragraphs, and I called it hook, expand, close. Oh no, that should say sign off here. Sorry guys. Yeah, so it should be hook, expand, close, sign off. So that's pretty much like what the paragraphs entail, basically. And yeah, we're just basically going to be running through like how each part should look like. So after you do your dear hiring manager, to whom this may concern, the first part, you really want to kind of give them a reason as to why they should read the rest of the cover letter. That's the main part. So that's why it's called the hook, basically. And basically the prompts that we have here is what we're going to include in the hook. Was we're going to include the role we're applying for, which is standard. We're going to mention like our academic background and experience, any relevant experience we have, area of expertise, and then if you have like an achievement or something, that would make like a good part of the hook as well, right? So that's basically what we're going to like include in that first part. And yeah, as always, I've included the prompt for you guys, so we're just going to copy and paste this into ChatGPT. I usually use GPT-4 because I just think it's like better. But GPT 3.5 works as well. Like it's pretty much the same thing. GPT-4 is just a bit faster and is always available because you pay for it. But that's pretty much that. So somebody give me a role, like give me a random role. Like so I wanna tailor this to someone. Like what role are we applying for today?
Let's say like asset management analyst.
Okay, asset manager. That's a bit broad. Should we say investment analyst?
Yeah, investment analyst.
Investment. Okay, let's even make it more sexy. Equities research analyst. Yeah, equities research analyst. Give me a firm. Give me a firm.
PJT funds.
PJT funds.
Partners.
Partners Fund, is that what it's called?
It's not PJT Partners.
Oh, PJT Partners. Okay, cool. PJT Partners. Okay, cool. So we're applying for an equity research analyst at PJT Partners. Academic background. Let's just say banking and finance student. Should we say we have an experience like in an industry or no experience? What do you want to go with?
Can we go with no experience?
Cool. So we'll probably say something like sales and customer service experience because we have like on the bare minimum like supermarket experience or something. Yeah.
Calm.
Um, area of expertise. Again, we'll say sales. Customer service is basically client relationships. You want to make it sound a bit sexier, innit? Because it's asset management. Client relationship management. Yeah, so you kind of want to use a bit of like acumen to this as well. We'll say. So we kind of want to spare ourselves. We're not going to put that we're a supermarket assistant in our previous role because then they're just not going to look at the rest of the CV. Someone give me like a random achievement like that you've done in uni. It could be like achieving a first in something, you've been awarded for something, just anything.
Proctor's Award for top, yeah, so for top score for property management or something like that. Or sorry, yeah, investment management.
This is a asset management course. Cool. So yeah, please generate an introduction for my cover letter based on the following information. Role I'm applying for, academic background, experience, area of expertise, achievement. And then we just click enter and see what happens. Okay, perfect. Now, you see here, basically, like it's a bit too extensive in my opinion, but from the last conversation that we had in terms of like the CV writing workshop, remember, like you kind of want to do this like really fast, right? So what you want to do is you want to take this information, yeah, and we're basically going to tweak it later because there's probably like a bit of pretentious language in there and so on and so forth. But the main part is to kind of get the context quickly just on your CV, on your cover letter kind of thing, and then you iterate after. So we're just going to copy and paste this. Gonna copy it here. Okay, cool. Cool. Now, moving on to the next part. This is where you're going to expand based on your CV, right? And this part should kind of like highlight the relevant experience that you have for this role specifically. That's the most important part, right? And here, like what we're going to use in this prompt is we're going to use like a job description. We're going to use bullet points in our CV, and then we're also gonna just add some wording that kind of like gives context as to, you know, why you're interested in the industry and anything you're kind of doing to upskill yourself really. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the CV that we actually like put together last time. If I can find it, it should be here. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, we're gonna use the points from this CV, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna search like a random equities research analyst role. Jobs. Okay, see if one's of a good description. Okay, this looks like a good job description. Okay, cool. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy and paste this prompt into ChatGPT. So use bullet points from my CV, put together grammar, and put together a second paragraph in 150 words max for my cover letter, which highlights my relevant skills for the job description noted below. So we're gonna copy and paste parts of the job description. So really and truly just the responsibilities and the qualification side of things. Gonna put it into the bracket so it separates it. Cool. And then we're also going to do the same for the job description, the CV bullet points as well. So from what I recall, when we don't have relevant experience, so we just have this experience, the supermarket assistant experience. So we're just going to use this one. Okay, cool. And then we're going to add this note here that says also include some wording that shows I'm interested in the broader industry of the job description and have been upskilling independently or independently upskilling. And basically what that means is that beyond this like job role that we're applying for, can you basically make it seem like I'm interested in like asset management or investment management, broadly speaking, and just give me some wording to show that I'm independently upskilling. And again, guys, like the content that ChatGPT gives you, you kind of have to tweak it and make it relevant to like what you've been doing. And as I've said last time in the session that we went through, I wouldn't advise like doing this on a bare piece of paper. I would say you write a cover letter first, like using your own input and knowledge, and then you basically use this as a way of upgrading as opposed to doing it from scratch. But for the purpose of this webinar and this demonstration, this is what we're very much doing. So yeah, and then we just press enter and then see what happens. So here it's kind of giving us in like bullet points, and we don't want this. We don't want bullet points with subheadings. We want it to be like in a cohesive paragraph. So we're literally going to ask ChatGPT to do that. So that's the thing. Like the prompts are never ever going to give you like specific things that you want. You kind of need to beat the answers out of ChatGPT sometimes. So we're going to say something like, can you amend this to be in a paragraph format without the subheadings. And also this looks like it's more than 150 words. So I'll just say ensure that it is no more than 150 words. Click enter. Okay, cool. So here it's kind of like added what it deems to be relevant experience based on the job description that we've added. And then it's also added some word in here, basically saying that you've been independently upskilling and like deepening your understanding of financial analysis methodology. So cool, like we're going to put that in there. And again, the whole idea is that we're going to tweak this as we go along at the end of the session, basically. That's kind of like what we want to do. For the purpose of working fast, we copy and paste and iterate. Cool. Are we able to get a copy of this guide at the end? Yes. So I'll be sharing a copy of the guide, and then I'm also going to include the link to this like ChatGPT session as well, so you can access this like in your own time and kind of like tweak it and stuff like that. So moving on to the third paragraph. So this is the only paragraph that I actually tailor. Like, so if I was applying for equity research analyst roles, once I've kind of added all of this word in and I've kind of tweaked it to my liking, I can't lie, like these are always going to be the same. It's based on your CV and it's based, broadly speaking, on these equity research analyst roles. But the third paragraph, what you're really including here is specific information about the company. Yeah. And this is the close. So what you're including in this place is like, you know, what you like about the company, any notable achievements. This is where you're kind of like demonstrating your research about the company. What I also like to do as well is I like to like give commentary and like my thoughts on certain things that the company have done. So in the context of if you're applying for like an equity research analyst role, for example, it would be really useful if you kind of like give commentary on like a deal that they recently just done or a company they just recently invested in and kind of say, oh, you know, why you like that investment. You don't want to be negative. You want to say something positive because you want the job at the end of the day. So that's usually like kind of like what I do to stand out. And this is the only part really that ever gets tailored for cover letters. For the most part, like nothing else needs to get tailored. So we're just gonna put this prompt, copy and paste it, put it into here. Okay, cool. So what was the name of this company? Oh, we said PJT Partners, didn't we? So partners, unique approach and strategy. Let's just make some stuff up. I'm gonna use some jargon. Sector agnostic approach to investing, outlook on the market. I'm basically saying they invest in any and everything. Notable achievements. This works. Superior returns of 27% year on year over the last 10 years. So this is kind of like a fill in the blank situation. So you would kind of do research based on things that you genuinely find interesting and you just kind of note them there. Recent work or transaction I found intriguing. The mid-cap deal on the healthcare tech company. What I found intriguing about that. Why I found that work and transaction interesting. We can say something like, why do we find it interesting? It didn't seem like an obvious opportunity at first glance, however, on further analysis, it was a diamond in the rough deal with potential for upside returns. So again, guys, this filling this part out is basically how well you're researching, right? So this is where you kind of have to do a bit of work. Like, why do you actually want to work for this company kind of thing? So I'm just making this stuff up as I go along. Personal and professional development. Describe how the company's environment aligns with your personal and professional development. I can say something like, PJT's investment approach demonstrates meticulous attention to detail in identifying value, which I find reassuring from a career development perspective. Okay, cool. And then lastly, like long-term vision. So where do you kind of see yourself in the company long-term? So we can say something like, potentially so again, it's just based on like what we want kind of thing, right? But I've just kind of kept it generic. And then, yeah, we just press enter and go from there. Wow. So this is actually a very good statement. So just looking at it, I've deeply been impressed by PJT sector agnostic approach to investing, its opportunistic outlook on the market. The dirt on the surface didn't seem like an obvious down rough deal, which upside return, such meticulous attention to detail. To be honest, I feel like I did most of the work there, but I still kind of like it. I like the way everything kind of flows together. If you wanted to be extra, you could say something like, could you make this slightly more extensive with alternative wording, just to kind of make ChatGPT work a bit more and see what it gives you. Aha, see, yeah, this one looks a bit sexier to me personally, just looking at that at first glance. So again, it's kind of like a push and pull like with ChatGPT, but I really like that statement. And again, like you can see that it's not really that hard. Like, it's literally just filling in the blank situation, doing a bit of light research in terms of what you find interesting about the company, why you're attracted to it, why you wanted to apply in the first place, and then just specific things about them, which you can find on their website or online, and you just fill in the blank like using a prompt. So we're just gonna copy and paste it here. Then boom, that's our third paragraph. Made that black. Does anyone have any questions, by the way? Because I'm conscious that I might be going like super fast.
I was just gonna ask, because you already addressed it, but I was gonna ask where, we get the information for the clothes. Would it be online articles or would it be at the
Yeah, yeah,
website?
yeah, yeah. So I mean, again, like I don't want to make it like specific to this role, but yeah, for example, if you're applying for like a finance role specifically within an asset manager, these people, especially if it's like a big firm, they love to talk about their deals online. They like to show people what they're doing. If it's a boutique firm, they like to do that even more
Mm,
because they're small firms, right? So they literally want to show that they're active. So you can find this stuff all over their website. Typically, like they'll do press releases where they announce it and stuff like that. So that's like the best place for you to find it. But typically, when I'm applying for like any role, I find that I don't want to come across like everybody else. I'm not going to be saying the obvious things like, oh, I really like your values and they really resonate with my values. I'm going deep into like their website, maybe looking at like stuff they do in CSR or like researching like articles where they've done like philanthropy work, like stuff that people aren't going to mention. That's what I'm going to go and try and find because that's what's going to make me stand out. Everybody's going to mention their values, but no one's going to mention that they gave money to this charity in Botswana 5 years ago. Like no one's going to do that. Do you know what I mean? So it's about finding like little gems like that basically, and then you providing insight into like their work, kind of like giving your view on a transaction that they've done. Like they're gonna love you for it. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
Same thing could be applicable to tech as well. Like if they've done like an acquisition or, a recent project that they're working on. Again, you kind of like mentioning that, a lot of tech companies, they're always like, at the moment, AI is booming. So all of them are going to be investing a lot of money for forward like thinking AI basically. If you can give commentary on that, again, it just shows that you're ahead of the curve and kind of shows the kind of person you're going to be if they hire you. Yeah. So that's pretty much that. So we've sorted out our
nice,
expand,
nice.
we've sorted out our close, and now we move to the sign off. The sign off is like relatively straightforward. Here, what you're doing is kind of summarizing your value proposition to the firm. And what do I mean by value proposition? Like basically, what am I going to bring to this firm kind of thing, right? So in this place, you want to kind of highlight your mindset, your attitude towards work, and then your outlook overall. And then you just want to close it off with like a, many thanks for like reviewing my application. Look forward to hearing back from you guys, something like that. But again, because I'm lazy, you can use your prompts. But these are pretty like generic, like, but for the purpose of saying we're using ChatGPT for everything, we can pretty much just yeah, use a prompt. So boom. Okay, so I always describe myself as results and solutions orientated, but I want to kind of like use a different one. Can anyone give me anything? Like, what's their mindset when it comes to work? Like, what mindset do you have in general? Just type it in the chat if you want. I'll use the first one I see. Overachiever. That's too cliche, man. Overachiever is too cliche. It was something
Um,
realistic.
always adapting to new information.
Okay. So I would say that's an attitude thing, adaptable.
Okay.
Mindset. Someone give me something for mindset. What kind of mindset do you have? Consistency, like hard worker, like okay, resilient and goal oriented. Okay, I like that one. Resilient and goal oriented. That's a good one. Copy and paste that. Outlook, like like what's your outlook on the firm? Like where do you want to kind of see yourself in the firm? So like me, for example, when I was working in private equity, I feel like entrepreneur really speaks to like the nature of private equity because you're literally investing in companies, so you're kind of like a mini entrepreneur in that respect. So where do you kind of see yourself from an outlook perspective? And these are good questions to just ask you guys, like think about it in general. If you're gonna go work somewhere, like what kind of person do you want to be? Growth mindset opens new opportunities and challenges with a resilient spirit. I like that. I like that. Somebody give me some more. Give me some more. Give me some more. Give me some more. Just want to see you guys' thought process. Mm, 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 mm. Any more? Any more? Okay, I like that. Growth mindset, proactive. Okay, so cool. So I would say something like growth mindset and proactiveness, propelling the company to greater heights. It's a bit pretentious, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. The company to let's say with aspirations of propelling the company to greater heights, because then it kind of just shows that you're not trying to brag. Okay, cool. And then closing sentiment is just something like thank you for reviewing my application, or look forward to discussing further. So say for disposal for further information. Cool. And then we just click enter. Let's see what we come up with. I don't really like that one. It's just a bit assumptive, but let's just say give me some alternative versions. I'd say give me some alternative versions that express gratitude, because that's how I want to come across in the application process. Express gratitude and outlines my value proposition. So let's get a bit more specific. So again, these are like key things you want to be doing when you're using AI. Like you just want to be like you want to be a prompt engineer, to the organization. Okay. Yes. Okay, so it's giving me a couple versions. I feel like I like the first one. So with a resilient and goal-oriented mindset, complemented by my adaptability and a proactive growth outlook, I'm eager to contribute to PJT's partners' continued success. So I like that one. Harnessing my goal-driven resilience and adaptability. I'm driven by a vision to enhance PJT partners' ascent. I don't really like that one. Guys, let me know which one you like, by the way. Like I'm just scrolling through. I can see someone said they like the third one. Let's see. My resilience, adaptability, and forward-thinking approach position me to be an asset to Pages. He partner. Yeah, we like the asset. The asset to an organization never goes wrong. You like that one's a staple. That's a staple. I'm genuinely grateful. I would remove the genuinely grateful there. Like, calm down. Like, stop begging it. I'm genuinely grateful for the opportunity to potentially contribute to the firm's growth. Interesting. I'm confident my resilient mindset paired with an adaptable and proactive approach can drive impactful contribution to PJT. That's not bad as well, but it seems like everybody likes the third one, so we will go with that one. Copy. Paste. Oh. Keep test. Cool. And that pretty much wraps up our cover letter. So if we delete this, delete that, delete that, delete that. Let's just say, what do we want to call the hiring manager? We call her Karen. Karen. Call her Karen. And bro, like literally, Bob's your uncle. You literally have a cover letter. Now, what you need to do is you just need to kind of like tweak certain parts to make sure that it's reflective of like, you know, your experience. Tweak the part that's like customizable to make sure that, you know, it's reflecting everything you kind of like are interested about with the firm. And then yeah, like that's pretty much it. This is like a fairly short cover letter. So like what I would do in the prompts is you'd kind of play about with like the wording. So for example, like within our prompts here in brackets were like in 50 words max or like in 150 words max. So you can kind of play about with the wording. Ideally, your cover letter should be like 500 to 600 words really and truly, but this is still like a good cover letter. It's more about the content more than anything. But again, it just goes to show that you can kind of prompt your way to doing anything like with ChatGPT, to be quite honest, and it's relatively straightforward. So yeah, with that being said, I will leave it open for any questions that anyone has.
Hi,
Hey Roslyn.
hey, so I just wanted to ask, so normally when I do cover letters, I like to put my address at the top right and then the company's address just before I say like their Karen or their etc. etc. I see here you haven't done it. So do you think all of those steps aren't necessary? I just personally do that to look more professional, but
Yeah. So let's actually like that's a good point, but let's actually think about it. First of all, why are we putting the company's address? They know their address.
that's true.
So why are we putting it? That's number one.
Did he also freeze for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking, just checking. I don't want, you know, my Wi-Fi to be asked. Yeah, he has gone off.
Or is the session over?
Nah, I just think his Wi-Fi probably had issues. I think it's usually like an hour. He usually stops at like 7.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think he's probably gonna come back.
Yeah.
And I should get
What have you been up to? What have you been doing?
me, honestly speaking, you know, it's application season.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, just we're gearing up. We're getting ready to start firing.
Yeah. Are you doing what? Graduate schemes, internship ones, or
I'm apply to both, honestly.
yeah?
I'm apply to both.
I'm doing like all the graduate schemes because like I did property as a degree and then real estate finance as a master. So now I'm like,
Nice.
okay,
Nice.
cool. It's time to like look at like other off-cycle schemes because I've graduated as well. So
Yes. Yeah, bro, I see a lot of real estate investing of cycles.
Yeah. There's only like three though.
Like Morgan Stanley, there's one for PIMCO,
Yeah,
and I think they're still coming out with more.
Can you
it's
guys hear me?
yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
hear
we
you.
can.
So
Yeah,
sorry, guys. Sorry about that. Wi-Fi technical issues, but I'm hotspotting now. Yeah. So I think I was addressing Rosalind's question. Yeah. So first thing is like the company already knows their address, so don't need to put their address. And then also the reason why I always advise people you don't need to put like certain personal details on cover letters and CVs is because, bro, these people will use it on you as discrimination. If you put like your area or where you're from, yeah, humans we're naturally judgmental. So it's like you need to think about the context of these jobs that you're applying for. You're applying for these highly esteemed institutions and stuff like that. And the people that are reviewing your CVs, I can't lie to you, they're gonna be like highly esteemed individuals as well. If they see that you're from like a certain area and they have a bias towards that area, that's just one reason for them to discriminate against you. So again, you just need to think like, why do I need to put my address there? They don't need my address. This is just the application. Like the only time you should be giving your address is if they're saying they need to send something to your house. Like, and that is usually when you get the job. And even that is kind of like, you not send it to my email. So I think it's just important to kind of question like, why you're doing certain things. Like there's no rule book that says putting an address in a Word document means that it looks professional. Like, so you don't need to do it. Do you know what I mean?
All right, thank you.
Yeah, that's no problem, man. Someone said, can hiring managers tell if you use ChatGPT even when you tweak the responses? Also, do they mind you using it? So, I think if you kind of like make sure that you don't, if you just copy and paste like the prompt and you copy and paste everything that ChatGPT gives you word for word, depending on the person reviewing it, I feel like I can tell personally. Like I've reviewed enough CVs to know if someone's used ChatGPT. But if you kind of like, tailor it and kind of tweak it with your like own personal touch and experience, then I think you wouldn't really tell. And again, like I said, the way I would advise people do this is to write a cover letter on your own accord first, and then you want to use ChatGPT to kind of like tweak and so on and so forth. That's the way I'd go about doing it. Whether companies mind if people use ChatGPT, I think a lot of companies are kind of like on the fence about like using AI just in general. Some companies are like, being like forward thinking and being like adopters of like the technology. Some companies are just being Debbie Downers. I honestly couldn't tell you if they have a view on it, but I think, bro, like AI is here to be leveraged like for efficiency, do you know what I mean? And if you can use it to kind of like do cover letters like faster and like do them more efficiently, then why not, kind of thing. I don't think it's any of their business really. But yeah.
I
What were
have
you
a
guys talking
question.
about? I left. I feel like I missed something.
Oh no, we were just talking about application season and
Yeah.
what we're
Oh,
doing currently. You know.
fairs. Any more questions?
Yeah, I had a question about whether you should put like your degree in the cover letter, if that's something relevant, and the modules you took that could show transferable
Yeah, so
skills.
yeah. So it's all about, like you said, if it's relevant, right? If you feel like it's relevant. So let's say, for example, you're applying for like an MLA analyst role and you did a corporate finance module where you had to do like bare financial modeling and stuff like that to analyze deals.
Mm,
Boom, slap that in there,
right in there.
especially if you don't have any relevant experience, any like on the job experience. Like you want to chat about like your corporate finance module because that's literally the only experience you have. So it's literally just about finding out what's relevant. If you got a first class degree, bro, that's your hook. Like, do you know what I mean? So I got a first class in my degree, so I always slap that in the first part of my cover. Like I see it, like look at it right there. So you just want to find like little things to like make you stand out. Do you know what I mean? You have to
Mm,
use your competitive advantage. So that's really where it is. But yeah, the key word is in relevance, like you said.
yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? General questions. It doesn't have to be about cover letter. It can be about application season, like how you guys are approaching it.
So I have a general question. If
Yeah.
that I've actually been meaning to ask you for a while, but I never got the chance. So basically, I graduated in 2021 and I've been struggling to find a grad scheme. So I think I've
Mm,
come to the realization that I've been doing it the wrong, I've been attacking grad schemes the wrong way. So I should have been coming to things like this instead of just applying for it straight away. However, I've
mm.
now noticed a lot of the grad schemes have that 2 year mark, and I think I've just missed it. What advice would you give to someone like me?
Yeah. So I would say like just don't focus only on grad schemes. because like and I think I made a video about this last time. Like grad schemes are not the only thing that exist or the only thing that provide opportunities. And when you actually think about it, a lot of people end up leaving their grad scheme after a year and a bit to just chase something else. I think you want to look at the broader market. You know what I'm trying to say? Um, because like what grad schemes are you applying for?
So I'm thinking of applying for FCA, the FCA. I because I applied last year and they said that I made it to the last stage and they said they'll take a application again from me from October. Um,
Mm-hmm,
so I can't mention them for the top of my head. I was gonna apply for JP Morgan, but then they have a year. They're very strict, so you have to be in your last year of your degree or you have graduated a year prior towards. I was gonna apply for just a few things that I've noted down, and as I've taken a deeper look into the application form, it has that you should have it has the 2 year mark basically, which is quite
yeah.
frustrating.
Yeah, no, I can understand. So I think from the sounds of it, like you probably just want to pick like one industry because I don't know, like FCA on one hand and JP Morgan on the other hand is like very broad, like you know what I mean, and they're
Yeah, that's
just far
true.
apart. So I think you kind of like want to figure out like what it is you want to get into and just understand that grad schemes are not the only thing. Like there are lots of entry level roles. So if, for example, if you're applying to the FCA, I would assume you want to get into something like compliance. I'm just assuming, by the way. So if you
Yeah.
wanted to get into something like compliance, like there's hella entry level roles in compliance that you don't have to be on grad schemes for that you can get into like very,
Mm.
very, I don't want to say very easily, but they're there. There are an ample amount of them there. If you're working in JP Morgan, I can only presume it was for like an asset management role or something like that. And again, the way you can kind of go about that one is you can either find like an off-cycle internship because, like you said, you've kind of passed the date for you to like jump on a grad scheme. Can kind of go in that way,
Hmm.
or find like an analyst role and just like try your luck, kind of tailoring like your CV to that role, kind of thing. So that's the way I
Okay.
kind of go about it. But I would say you don't bank on like these graduate schemes in it. You can still apply for them even if they say like 1 year. It just should be cheeky and whatnot. But I just think broaden your horizons, like broaden your search.
All right, okay. And just another question coming off on your response. With grad schemes, I think the reason why they're so attractive to us because it's easier. Like there's a clear like career path if you do well in the grad scheme, and also it's just a good opportunity once you leave uni. With entry level roles, they don't necessarily have that clear set path that graduate schemes do. So how do you advise someone be able to climb the corporate ladder with just an entry like an entry level role? I feel like it's harder to get. I don't know. I feel like with entry level roles is not as clear as the it's not as clear basically when it comes to like growing and progressing. Like with grad schemes, they're like, okay, after the first year you would have done this. By the second year, you would have done this. By the fourth year, you would be in this position. Whereas with a lot of the entry level roles, I don't see that path set. Am I making sense to you?
Yeah, no, no, that makes absolute sense. But you're being assumptuous there because you haven't done any of the grad schemes or like the entry level roles.
That
You're
is true.
just you're just basing it based on what you think,
Hmm.
right? And I can categorically tell you, because I was on a grad scheme, and I'm not saying this is like general for every grad scheme, but for the most part, sometimes like you're an NPC on these grad schemes, like you're for the first 2 years of the grad scheme, you're just babied, like you're not really doing much, so you're not really adding any value per se. You know what I'm trying to say? So with that being said, like um it's actually a bit of a disadvantage. And then if you move on to like entry level roles, you kind of have the opportunity to make it whatever you want. And the bottom line is that whatever scenario you're in, grad scheme or entry level role, the career is in your own hands because you could go into that grad scheme and they have the rotation set out for you. But if you're just doing the rotation, but you don't bother networking or like finding out about other departments or finding out like, where you actually like and stuff, then like is basically redundant no matter like what career path they kind of like have structured for you. It's ultimately in your own hands. And I would kind of argue that yeah, there are a lot of like entry level roles. I guess they don't do a good job of like, really specifying it on their job description and stuff, but a lot of like roles that are entry level that are not necessarily grad schemes are now like providing like a means for you to like develop yourself further, and you're not confined by this graduate scheme. Like you have a permanent opportunity from the jump. So
Hmm.
I would say just broaden your horizons. Like don't just like narrow your mindset to just think, oh, because everybody told me that graduate schemes there's like a structured career path. That like there really isn't like a structured career path in general. Like your career is not going to be linear. Your career is going to be whatever you make it. And yeah, and if you think about it as well, like graduate schemes, like graduate schemes have been around for a while, but they haven't been this structured. You know what I mean? Like companies just started like putting effort into their graduate schemes. Like back in the day, it was just your graduate hire. Like, do you know what I mean? So with that being said, it's still something that's like currently developing. And I think broadly speaking, companies are looking at basically providing the best experience for their candidates beyond graduate schemes. Just in general, if we hire you, we want to make sure that you have the best experience. So with that being said, trust me, just broaden your horizons, basically.
All right, thank you, thank you. Yeah, that's
That's
all
it.
it for me.
No problem, no problem. Any more questions, guys?
Yeah, I had a question, but this isn't really about the cover letters. This was about last week's CV writing. I
Yeah.
wanted to ask because we were talking about relevance just now and modules you did. I wanted to know on the CV you put okay, first class banking and finance. I wanted to ask, does it make sense to add relevant modules and maybe what you did in those modules, assuming you don't have the relevant internship experience?
Yeah, for sure. So a couple of places you can add it. You can either add it in you can add it like in the education section if you feel like it's really relevant. Do you know what I mean? If it's screaming, no, this module, like you need to hear that I've done it. You can add it there, especially if you got like a high grade in it as well. You can add it there, and then within your CV, I wouldn't. I would add it as like a practical experience. So, what did you do in this module that makes it relevant? Do you get what I'm trying to say? I wouldn't just name drop it on some. I did a corporate finance module and that's it. I'd be like, within my corporate finance module, I did a top down analysis on like the real estate industry to understand like a certain deal and da 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 da. Like you make it very, very niche and specific. That's the way I would add it in my experience. And then within like my education bit, I'll just name drop it. And if I got a high grade, I'll kind of put that there as well. So that's the way I would go about it.
Okay, so you're saying the relevant stuff that you did in the module, you put in experience, but the
Yeah.
name of the module and the grade, you put in education.
Yeah, only if it's like really, really relevant and if you got like a high grade, like one or the other in it, you know what I mean? Like if you
Yeah,
both even better. But let's say for example, if you I just keep on thinking of corporate finance, 'cause that's the only thing in my head. But
yeah,
let's say you studying computer science and you are applying for like a data analyst role and AI is booming at the moment and you did AI and machine learning as one of your modules, like bro, slap that in there. Do you know what I mean? Like the keyword thing's gonna
yeah.
pick out ASAP. And if you got above 70, slap that in there as
They're
well.
in
Because
there,
then
standard.
like, yeah, you
Yeah,
basically look like a top guy.
makes
So
sense.
yeah, that's the way I kind of go about it.
Makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
I've just dropped the link for the last session for this month, which is going to be using ChatGPT to prep for interviews. I can't lie to you guys, if there's one that I'm confident of that I feel like is going to be the most valuable session, is that one. These
Yeah,
ones, these are like I've used ChatGPT to write cover letters and CVs and whatnot, but I've kind of done it for the purpose of like these virtual events. But with interview prep, I've literally like every single person that got an internship or like a job through Beyond Education this year, literally ChatGPT, I have a very, very comprehensive way of using it to ace interviews like so easily. It's literally a cheat code. So that session I think is going to be really the best session. So if you've missed all the other sessions, this one you don't want to miss. Like it's really, really good. So I'd say just sign up for that. But yeah, any more questions, guys?
when you say interviews, you mean like both a virtual interview and like a real life interview?
Yeah, virtual interview, real life interview. So what we're gonna go through like my comprehensive like prep structure. So I have like a prep template, all the things I would include in there to basically give you all the information that you need to like prepare before an interview. Then I'll also
Yeah,
give you like a series of prompts for you to generate like beginner questions, intermediate questions, and advanced questions and stuff like that. And then we'll also talk through like a structure of how to answer these questions like comprehensively in the best way possible. So yeah, and honestly, like it's like so easy. Like it's honestly not even that hard. And 9 times out of 10 these days, like all these interviews are done virtually. So literally I just split my screen. I'd have my answers on one side, person on the other
yeah.
side, literally just a cheat code, you know what I mean? And if you're going to like an in-person interview, just make sure you study it inside out and you're good either way. Do you know what I mean? So
Standard.
yeah, like yeah. Would be able to get a copy of this recording? Yes. It's gonna be available. I hope that the locking off the first time didn't hinder it, but it still says it's recording. So yeah, it will be available. You guys will get hopefully before the end of the week. And yeah, you'll get a guide as the guide for this cover letter, how I basically generated it, and then I'll also send you like, I mean, if you want to access it now, I can send you the link to this session. I'll send it in the chat here. You guys can access it now and just play about in your own time. But yeah, I'll send you all of that like later this week, basically, and you guys will have that to hand. Yeah.
I got
Any
one,
questions?
one
Yeah,
more
go on.
question. Yeah. Because I started applying to different schemes and internships for next year. I'm starting to
Mhm.
get those blended assessments and job simulations and stuff like that. So I wanted to ask you, how would I prepare for those?
Yeah, my strategy is to avoid those tests. But the best answer I can give you is just practice makes perfect. So there's this website called SHL Testing. Let me see if I can just get the link up. So that's the website that kind of like does all the testing for these organizations. So if you just practice them inside out, that's the best way possible to kind of like get ahead of, yes, right here. Yeah. Um, I hope this is the right one. Yeah, okay, yeah, this is it. So I really saw sexual health. Sorry guys. Um yeah, so literally, yeah, if you go on that website and just like practice inside out, it's literally just a practice game, I can't lie, with those tests.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I avoided them. Like I did like one or two like when I was applying for jobs, but I think now a lot of companies are kind of like integrating that into their practices, so it kind of makes sense. What kind of jobs are you applying for?
I've been applying to like some product analysts, real estate investing, just typical analyst roles at the big firms, just kind of internships and grad
Mm.
schemes as well. I literally applied to an asset management and wealth management consulting, and a literally I got the link to your blended assessments where it was a job simulation followed by numerical tests, into verbal, and then finish up with a video interview.
That's heavy. That's heavy.
Yeah,
But at least
heavy.
you're getting to those stages. That's what that matters, right? So I think yeah, it's just about practicing. Like you wanna like again, it's all about competitive advantage. Like you look for people that have like done these applications, go online to see if there's any forums where they're talking about this stuff. Who's got the drop? Who's got the latest answers? Like who knows something? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
If you're applying and you're not getting any interviews, like on our website, we have like 30 or 40 CVs that have like literally helped people get jobs. Go there. Like it's all about getting competitive advantage. Competitive
yeah.
advantage is literally the key. That's what it's really about, really, and you should be good.
Nice, nice. Thanks.
Yeah. Couple more minutes, guys. Any more questions before we wrap up?
Yeah, yeah, just a one quick question. So like I don't know how familiar everybody else here is with like Workday, because like that is the bane of my existence, man. Like applying through
Mm,
Work, I don't think I've gotten any further than just the application stage for a lot of these Workday applications. But then when I send my
mm.
CV to, other firms, or they go straight to the recruiters and stuff like that, they always get to like assessment centers or like final stages. But then every time I see Workday on the application, I think
Yeah.
can do now. Would you be like ever going through that one? Because I think Workday is the most difficult one, and I know that's the one that Blackstone and some of these other big firms, Barings, they also use that one.
Yeah. So again, I think like the way I would kind of approach this thing is that there's gonna be people that have like done these applications and gone through Workday. So for example, you mentioned like these firms that do use Workday and they're gonna have analysts and they're gonna have roles that you're applying for. Go on LinkedIn, reach out to these people and be like, hey, like, hi, how are you? Like I want to learn about how you got this job because I've had no success like going through the Workday application, da, 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 da. And the thing is like first person you're gonna reach out to is probably gonna air you. Like second person gonna reach out is probably gonna air you, but you have to keep on doing it. That's honestly all I can tell you. When I made the move from consulting to private equity, I reached out to about like 30, 40 people on LinkedIn. And I think only two people got back to me. Like, and those two people were the people that helped me get in, do you know what I mean? But you need to find people that like are where you want to be. Like, do you know what I mean? It's literally as simple as that. That's the only way. Rather than just like racking your brain and like applying again and again and getting nowhere. It's just finding the secret. Like that's really all it is. It's all about competitive advantage. There's a reason why a lot of these firms that you want to work for, they buy research from like these big firms and stuff like that, and all these like research firms because they want competitive advantage. They want the inside scoop. You know what I mean? That's the reason why Mark Zuckerberg's out here selling our data in China, because people want inside scoop. Like that's what it's about. So yeah, that's what I would advise you to do. Yeah.
Forward.
All right, cool. Okay, cool. Let's wrap it up, guys. I will be sharing this recording later this week, as I said, with the guide. And yeah, don't miss tomorrow's session. I genuinely think that's a session everybody needs to be at. But with that being said, thank
Sorry,
you
I've
guys
got
for
one more question, real quick.
yeah,
Sorry
go
about
on,
that.
shoot.
This is personal to you.
Mm.
Did you do the consulting and client side of asset management? Or
Pardon?
did you do the consulting and client side of asset management?
So no, so in consulting, I was working with private equity firms to
Yeah,
help them like launch funds.
yeah,
So that's very much just consulting. But then when I
yeah,
moved into asset management, I wasn't on the client side. So I was working
mm,
in middle office and I was working in product.
yeah.
So my clients were like the investment teams, and I basically work with them to like launch these investment products. So I wasn't dealing with the client side. But
Okay,
I have insight, like if there's any specific questions that you want to ask and stuff. But if you drop me a message on our Discord is where you're gonna catch me at. Like I can't reply
calm.
to LinkedIn messages because they're a lot. But if you drop me a message on Discord, like I'll literally answer your questions all day, yeah?
That's fine. No worries.
Alright,
Appreciate
no
it.
problem, bro. I'll leave you guys to it. Have a good one, yeah?
Great, thank you.
No
You
problem,
too, my man.
bye.
Appreciate this.
No problem.